Hi there, my name is Dr. David Oswald. I'm a visiting professor at King Faisal University in Saudi Arabia, an associate faculty at Royal Roads University in Victoria, and the founder and president of DE Design and Environment, which is a design and environmental consultancy based in Canada. And my team and I've been working in the developing world, specifically in the Caribbean and Latin America since 2012. We do environmental data acquisition, analysis, and processing and software design to support decision making, specifically for multilateral environmental agreement compliance and reporting, as well as the SDGs. So, with the question of finance for development, specifically SDG localization, there's a few things that I've noticed that have become apparent to me over the last 10 or 15 years of doing this kind of work that I think are important to note that I'd like to outline in terms of approaches or technical tools. One of the things that we most often run into in our work is the fact that we get really interesting and effective projects for SDG localization, climate change mitigation, and adaptation, such as designing software for managing environmental data for reporting, which is well targeted, but it doesn't have the long-term sustainability attached to it. So it's project-based. And this is something that comes up over and over again in different projects in the Caribbean region and elsewhere as well, but my experience is mostly in the Caribbean. So in terms of a tool that deserves greater attention and commitment, I think we need to, for one, for financing, I do believe that the multilateral support mechanisms, such as the World Bank, Inter-American Development Bank, Caribbean Development Bank, et cetera, are good and effective. And the GEF, the Global Environmental Facility, several of our projects have been financed through multilateral sources such as that, and they are effective and they do their job. But I do think that there needs to be an increased focus on long-term sustainability of the capacity that's developed through that funding. So that's one thing. Longer view, because often the project's finished and then there's no more funding to continue the initiatives that have been put in place, whether it be staff or ongoing skills and knowledge development. So that's an issue that I think needs to be addressed. So, for example, I think if there could be a better connection between identifying what the needs are in the region for SDG localization, and then also the appropriate financing when the financing is going to be planned at the multilateral sources like e-project pipelines. So targeted financial support, sustainable financial support, such that these initiatives can be carried over in the longer term. And then I think another area that is interesting that requires greater attention is a more diverse set of sources of funding. So I think specifically private-public cooperation. So good examples of this are one thing that I really like are the increasing proliferation of an example being the debt swaps for nature. So these are private funds that have come from banks such as KfW in Germany and others that are focused on relieving debt from these countries in exchange for nature conservation. So it's an innovative mechanism to support the type of work that fits within our area, which is environmental monitoring and so forth, which can support SDG localization, such as SDG 13, 14, and 15. So I think the growth in innovative private financial mechanisms such as that, but then also social impact funding and so forth. I think if there could be more of that brought into the traditional development financing envelope, which in my experience has largely been these multilateral funds or donor countries. So for example, if it's going a direct donor, could be the German government or the European Union, but bringing in these innovative private funds as well, I think will, and of course, there was probably going to be changes to the process for financing those projects as a result of that. But I think it's a good step in the right direction just because there is a significant amount of financing that's required And frankly, there's groups that are willing to finance that kind of work, whether it be carbon mitigation or climate change adaptation. If we think about the growth in activity on the part of companies seeking to advance their ESG portfolio through carbon offsets, why not start to look at mechanisms through which that support can be targeted at development objectives in such as SDG localization, some of the parts of the world that really need it, such as Caribbean SIDS, South Pacific SIDS, and other countries in development. So those are a few of my thoughts as to how we can promote or have more innovative cooperation tools, but then also innovative financing methodologies to advance the implementation of the SDGs at the local level. Thank you.